And if you have access to the whiteboard, there is a text from the book of Deuteronomy about the 7 species, and also there's a diagram with pictures. And we shall look for a volunteer to read the text and then discuss the 7 species and how do they reflect in our behavior, in the structure of the week, and so in the structure of the year. And this is the text. And who will volunteer to read today?
I'll read.
Thank you. Do you have the text clear? The letters are clear?
Yes.
Good.
All the commandment which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which the Lord swore unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God hath led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, that he might afflict thee, to prove thee, to know what was in thy heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And he afflicted thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread alone, but by everything that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live. Thy raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. And thou shalt consider in thy heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord thy God chasteneth thee. And thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to fear him. For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths, springing forth in valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey.
Thank you so much for your reading. And now, what is the core idea here of the text? And why did we choose to seal the text with verse 8? What is the relation between the first verses and the eighth verse? In the seven first verses, Moses summarizes the, the voyages of Israel in the desert. He summarized the 40 years, and then he creates a bridge, and Lord, Lord thy God will bring you to the promised land, of which the 7 species are mentioned. Is this relation clear?
Yes.
Yes. And now we shall move to the 7 species here on the right side. 1 second. Here it is. We have 7 species and we're going from right to left. This is, make it a bit bigger. This is wheat, and I will write the name of the wheat in Hebrew because it has a meaning. 1 second. I hope the text, the letters are clear. Chita, chita. This is wheat, and seora is barley. Seora. The third is wine, geffen, geffen. The fourth is fig, te'ena. The fifth is pomegranate, rimon. The sixth, 1 second, I'll move the text here. The sixth is olive, in Hebrew, zait, zet shemen, zet shemen, olive oil. And here, date palm, basically here the text call it dvash, honey. honey. There's also, this is not just the name of the seven species, this is a description of the, I would say, the 7 days of the week, because we have here parallel systems. I'll move it. Wheat is day 1 day, 1 second, 1 day. Wait. 1 day that God said in this that will be a light. 1 day on day 1. This is day 2. Day 3 for creation. Day 4 of creation from Genesis 1. Day 5th or the 5th day. And the 6th day here, zet shemen, olive oil. The 6th day. And the 7th day is like honey. This is the 7th day. This is the 7th day. This is the systematism. We can see in a way the structure. See the structure, make it here. We have in a way the first upper triangle. We have an upper triangle. And we have a second. Make it a bit straight. A second triangle. And then all stream to the 7th day. Here, I make it double for a reason. This is the systematism. This is the 7 lower spheres. There's a parallel systems between the 7 species, the 7 days of the week, the 7 continents, and so on. Is this map clear to you? Would you like to ask questions about it? Please feel free to ask.
It is.
Yes.
I have one question because yesterday, before I went to sleep, I was just reading the Thomas Mann
Yes.
book, and and it's interesting because Joseph in this book is saying that the grape and the vine and the fig are related to the moon, and the olive and the honey is related with the sun.
Yeah.
It is possible to make this relation.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes. The wine and the fig and the barley. Yes, Fernando? The 3? I would like to make it bigger.
As he speaks about the vine and the fig, especially he speaks relating it with the moon.
Yes.
And he relates the oil
Yes.
and the honey with the sun.
Yes. Okay. From the I'll make here another. From the vine we can make wine, yain, yain. The value of yain in Hebrew is 70. The 7 has to do with the cycle of the moon, because each moon cycle is 4 weeks. Yes, and week is 7 days. So 4 double 7 is 28. This is approximately moon cycle. This is like the first impression. Now the fig. This is a non-linear thinking. But the fig again. is the fourth fruit, also is associated with the fourth day, in which we read about the greater light and the lesser light. So first of all, fig is the fourth fruit. So again, we have here the four appears, and if we take the moon cycle, which is 28, divided into 4, this is 7. This is one way to look at it. That is has to do with the moon. Another one is when we take the letters of Te'ena, we start with Tav, which is 400. Development again, the 4. You see, Fernando? And then Aleph, 1. So we are moving from the extreme development, and always development comes from the sense of something is lacking. We as humans do not develop something if we don't sense that something is lacking, like a lesser light, like the moon, something is lacking. The moon in us always feel that we lack something. This is how also the way of the West, how to say, Western economy or capitalism work. We always think that we are lacking something, and there's a whole system of economy of debts. People will take loan, leasing, mortgages, and so on. This is just a brief answer. Of course, we can go deeper, but this is just simple. Now you ask,
Thank you,
yeah,
Itzi.
yes, you're welcome. And now you ask about the relations of the olive and yes, the high of the sixth and the seventh stage are related to the sun. Is that right? When we take the olive and we press them, here we see the picture. There's the beginning of olive oil. You see how thick it is? It's basically so thick that it's like a cream. The Bible speaks about Shemen HaMishcha, the anointed oil, or it's so thick. It's like a cream that you can put a cream on a person, like from oils, like a mask. Yes, Shemen HaMishcha, Shemen. I'll make it thinner the letters that it will be better. Shemen HaMishcha, Mishcha, the anointed. Jill, and how do you say the word cream or past? Like we say, toothpaste is the same letters like simcha, like
Yeah.
joy. Yes.
Paste. Yeah.
So first direction is from this oil. We can make a thick cream, and like the Messiah or the one who is anointed, we are creaming. He's like covered with cream. Also, shemen with hay is shmone, like 8, and this is the 8th day. Has to do with the sun. Yes, shemesh, sun. 1 second. I'm thinking also in letters and numbers at the same time. Shemesh is 640 in Hebrew. Yes, and this is basically 2. How do we write 640? 6 in the power, 2 in the power of 6, which is again by 2, and then we have by 3, and then We reach 2 in the power of 6. 1 second, we'll make it clear. I will delete it. 2 in the power of 6 is 640. But there's another way. If we lower, this is a non-linear sinking. If we are lowering the 6, again we have the tetragrammaton. So, did you understand how did we arrive to the sun? How has to do with the sun? Because also neshama, shmona is also neshama, soul, and the soul is always associated with the sun. Yes, Fernando?
It's perfect. Just thanking you. And the color as well, right? The color of the honey and the oil. And
Yes. You ask also about the seventh day, what it has to do with the sun. Is that right, Fernando?
yes, it's just because I read
Yes, yes.
yesterday.
I just want to make sure because I'm
Yes, I'm following.
yeah, because I'm listening to your questions, but in my mind I already see the explanation. So I ask again to be sure because I have books in my head that I'm intending to write, so I make sure that we are on the same. It's really, again, Tamar, though the Bible here says honey, because how do you say, the fruit of the palm is very sweet like honey, but the word for palm in Hebrew is tamar, and tamar again has the value of 640, like the value of sun. Let's look at it again. Tav is 400, Mem is 40, Resh is 200, and we are again in 640, like the value of Shemesh, 640. And from Tamar, not just the tree Tamar, from Tamar as a person, the name Tamar and Judah came the anointed one. You can look at the anointed one as David or as Jesus. If she is associated with the seventh day or with the kingdom, which is the seventh sphere, she, in a way, through her, through the seventh day, through Tamar, through the kingdom, comes the eighth day, of which we did not here give the place, but here is the eighth day. This is the eighth day is here, or Bina, the eighth day. This is Bina here, Bina, understanding.
Amazing it relating the anointed with David because and also it's interesting that the honey is produced from by the bee,
Yes,
right?
yes, by the
It is Deborah,
Deborah,
right?
yes.
Yes.
And Deborah is not just a bee, but she's also the prophet, Deborah, and she sits under the palm. Yes, the sweet, how do you say, the sweet speech. because we have the Deborah as the bee, the insect that flies and make honey, and the same with the same word, we intend also the prophet Deborah. In Hebrew, it's the same name. In English, we say bee that makes honey, and we have the name Deborah as the name of the prophet. But in Hebrew, it's the same name, Devorah for the bee, and Deborah for the prophet. It's the same name.
The root is davar.
Davar, excellent. And the root is davar. Yes, the root is davar. Very good. Davar, davar, davar. Make it beautiful here. Davar, davar. What is davar? Davar is like diber. Davar is in a way it's a noun, which means word. But as a verb, diber is he spoke, is to speak, but also it's the heavenly speech that we meet in the Ten Commandments. We call them in English the Ten Commandments, like somebody's commanding us, but in Hebrew it's Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 speeches of God. Yes, Diber is a speech, like God has 10 speeches, what we call in English the 10 Commandments. But those are the 10 speeches of God, or the divine speech, which, how do you say, stream as 10 arms or 10 spears. Yes. And the value of davar, word, or diber, is 206. And without a zero, we have the tetragrammaton. This is 26. This is 26. Like the value of the four letters, Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, or in the drawing of the letter Aleph, when the Vav is 6, in each arm is 10, so it's 26, the unity. So each divine speech is express of the unity, or express of love. Questions or impressions that you would like to share with us? Also, there is another aspect of the oil, Fernando, that I would like to share why Joseph said it has to do with the sun. When we take the oil as olive oil, and we can illuminate with olive oil like the menorah, in a way the matter which is like material turns into spirit, because it turns into light, and with the light we can see. This is another aspect. Shemen, shemen, oil, otiyot, neshama, neshama, soul, or shmone, 8, which is beyond space and time. So this is why, in a way, the 6 and the 7 are related to the sun, because 6 plus 7 is also 13. 13 is a number that includes the 12. If the 12 is expansion in time, the most, like we have 12 months per year, and so 13 includes the 12. Love includes everything. Unconditional love. Like the sun is an unconditional light for us. And since both the sun and the date uh, in their numeral value express the tetragrammaton, they express also mercy, love, and unconditional love. Questions? Jill, Charles?
If I may, to just that it seems to me there is a process to the honey. You know, it's a process to get the honey, to get the word.
Yes.
Could you think that is this, or if you could say, how could we take care of this, these fruits inside of us, and to get out with the word that is honey, the word that brings life, that is sweet, and sweet is tikkun, right? Is it's related with the correction, right? I don't know if you could understand my point, but
How do we create like sweet words that unites and deliver the divine spirit? This is the
yes,
process.
because it seems that has a process. You know, it's not something that is to get this sweet word, and sweet is the tikkun, the
Mhm.
word that corrects the world.
Mhm.
It seems that has to pass through all the tree of life. It's not something that you only speak beautiful words and it's okay, you know.
It's a process. This is what I was trying to tell, I think, yesterday to Jill about the silver teaspoon. That you remember, Jill, yesterday about the ceiling fan and that was
Yes.
reflected in the teaspoon, because usually people take the teaspoon, they use the teaspoon to eat something. They put their it in their mouths to take something inside. And I thought how, since I saw the reflection of the ceiling fan in the silver teaspoon, I thought, how can I do opposite? Meaning, not just use the teaspoon to put something inside, to eat something and to cause gravity, because when we eat, everything goes down. How do I use this teaspoon as an image to mirror like something which is beyond us, higher in the ceiling, or higher than our level? And it's a process, Fernando. You're right. It's a process, and this is it's daily cultivation. Some people go to the field and they check every day how is the lettuce, how is the vine, and every day we come and cultivate more and more, and we learn to express, and we sharp our skills and our soft skills, and we try to find connections and to communicate better. It's a daily process. It's a day by day, hour by hour. It's not that it is how do you say, a box of treasure that, like how do you say, you call people that sea robbers, they have pirates, yes, say pirates, they rob a ship, and they have like treasure box, and inside they have gold and all kinds of jewelry and necklaces and beautiful stones. But we are not pirates. So it's a process. And whenever I speak to you, I notice how do you perceive it, maybe how it is been accepted by you or by others that are writing or not writing. and I try to make it better and more accessible, and it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing. I hope that I managed to answer your question.
Yes, it. And and could we relate it with the Mohin? Because in the Kabbalah literature, let's say, sometimes we see the word Mohin,
Yes,
the intellects,
yeah, the mind, yes.
and it seems that I don't know, because the mind maybe it's above all of these intellects, but there is a process to make it through the world, to make it get to the world.
There is a term, if I may, there is a term called mochin de cherut, like free mind, free-minded person. I translate it to English as a free-minded person. Mochin de cherut. When a person reach this level that he understands that there is a great freedom, that he is growing up inside of himself from all kinds of foreign opinions, wrong beliefs, false beliefs, narrow-mindedness, and he gains this free-minded, uh, I would say, uh, glance at life, mochin de cherut, which is in a way unconditional love. But this is a process, and education. I believe that education helps, is the most helping tool to gain mochin de cherut, the freedom, because slavery is in the mind. If we are convinced, there is a beautiful, you will see this also in the book of Thomas Mann and also in the book of Jasher, how this slavery started. This is very interesting. From little things. A person asks for favor and then people give favor, and then he asks the second day another favor and people give twice favor, and then another favor and another favor, and generations are being born into slavery or to tyranny. It depends. Yes, slavery, tyranny. But through education, every person can go into freedom.
Can I
It it's
mention?
it.
I'm
Please,
sorry.
please.
Go ahead, Fernando. I'm sorry.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. But before you had mentioned free-minded, I was just thinking to myself that I'm still trying to make the connection between everything that I learn and listen to here.
Mhm.
But what I have been noticing in my own personal life is things that used to keep me in bondage, or they've either disappeared, or I feel like they've loosened their hold. And so I do feel like even though I don't really know what exactly everything means, that there's something that's happening that's kind of maybe out of my control.
Mhm. This is what it's supposed to do, Jill. This is it. It's excellent when this happens. This, how do you say, heavens is open. Yes.
I feel the same, Jill. Really, and sometimes all makes sense. It's like drop by drop we go on learning, and and it's beautiful because something happened above the curtain.
Yes,
Something that
yes,
is
this is
not.
it. This is it, Fernando. Above the curtain. This is it. This is it.
And it's interesting that you brought this idea of being freed, because this week we're gonna read in the Torah the Bashlach, the Parsha Bashlach, that
Yes,
is when Moses is leaving Egypt with children of Israel and passing through the Red Sea, the Red Sea.
yes,
Uh, and the and I think that the book of Zohar speaks exactly about the idea of to be free-minded people, because in many aspects of our lives we are slaves,
yes,
unfortunately.
yes, it's true. This is true. This is true. This is the story about the little elephant. There's a parallel story about an elephant in the circus. Have you heard about it? There was,
Yes.
yes, are you familiar with this, Jill?
Yes, I've heard it. Yeah.
Would you like to share it with us?
Okay, let me see. I'll try to. Okay, so as a baby, they had chained the elephant up,
Yes.
if this is the right story. And as he gets older, he's chained to this pole, and so I guess when he's maybe all grown up, then they unchain him, but because he's been chained so long, he still stays in that little space.
Yes,
And so that's the story
yes,
I was
this
talking
is
about.
excellent. This is a beautiful short parable about uh, our mindset, which is like enslaved. The world is open. It's just that we have to unleash the shackles on our thoughts. This is it. This is the process of education. And day by day, this is why we also do it almost every day. And if we're not having those conversations on Twitter, we have conversations on Slack or emails exchange, because this is very important. It's like when we water a plant in the field, every day he gets this drop, and this drop every day is changing us. And those conversations, interactions, the way we look at text, the way we look at letters, at pictures of fruit in this case, diagram, architecture, how do you say, sketches of architects that we shared on Slack, paintings, the Divine Comedy, books, all of these are changing our perspectives and set us free. Music, of course. Are you familiar? This is a question that came to me. Are you familiar with the song Hair, or once used to be a movie called Hair? Are you familiar? Did you hear once about this? The movie Hair, or the song The Age of Aquarius? Did you hear the name of the song before?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Mm,
Yeah.
yes. So the lyrics of the song is in a way are describing a future reality of how humanity can be born again, as like Aquarius. And when the moon is in the seventh house, the moon, the moon is Yareach, Yareach in Hebrew. When the moon is in this, I will write it here. The moon is in the seventh house, Yareach. This is the moon. In the seventh house, this is the heavenly kingdom, Malchut, or the seventh sphere. I will make it here very fast because this is the moon. This is the seven. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. When the moon is in the seventh house in heavenly kingdom, moon is 200. and 18 plus the seventh sphere plus 7, we are at 225. Is that right? Please check me.
Yeah.
218 plus 7 is 225.
Yeah.
Yes. So when the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter, this is basically Abraham, aligned with the Mars, this is Isaac, then peace will guide the planet and love will steer the stars. 225, if we take a root from this, 225, what is the root of 225? Is 15. 15 is Ya. Ya is basically wisdom and understanding. So everything when the moon is in the seventh house is 225. We take a root from this. Root in Hebrew is ריבוע, שורש ריבועי, square root we call it, and in a way we rescue the time. This is a Lorianic thinking, Fernando. So we reach again to Ya, and then we have, if you see, there's like a triangle, and since we rescue the 15, this is Mochin de Cherut, Ya. Wisdom and understanding beyond time and space is called Ya, but also Mochin de Cherut, free-minded person. Mochin de Cherut. Then everything oppose, and in a way there's like here, Yeah, and there's another triangle. This is the Age of Aquarius, and I sent on Slack the tensegrity of those two. We can look at it like the Star of David or the tensegrity structure, because everything is moving. The Age of Aquarius, everything is being opposite and polarized. What used to be separated, the moon, is in the seventh house. It's the lowest of lowest of lowest. It then opposes itself and becomes to be like Mochin de Cherut, uh, how do you say, a free-minded person's mind. Everything is, we make these transitions of being slaves, living in that economy that everything is lacking and we're missing something, and we are realizing that we are basically divine souls. This is this is it. In short, then uh,
Amazing.
yeah, and love will steals the stars. The most important thing is to reach, in a way, the transition from being a lacking moon and to transfer and to be like illuminated sun. And this is why, in a way, Joshua first, after they crossing the Jordan, what Joshua does, you remember? Which city does he come and captures? Jericho. Yericho, the letters Yericho in Hebrew holds the letters of the word moon in Hebrew, Yereach. He captures the city of the moon. And later in the Bible, we find that the Bible converted after Joshua occupied the moon and the island. We find that they transfer the name of they transfer the name of the city to the city of palms, Ir. Why the city of palms? We said before that Tamar Tamar has the same value like a sun in Hebrew, Shemesh. So, after he captured the city of the moon, there was a transition and it became to be the city of palms. And we say that the palm in Hebrew has the same value like the sun, city of palm. Do we understand how all of those symbols and names are connected?
It's amazing. So many classes came to my mind. It's really amazing, this connection.
Cool. Questions or thoughts that you'd like to share?
Yes, Eddie.
Yes, Charles.
I was just thinking of the almond tree.
Yes,
You say, I mean, its qualities, and it's not on the seven species.
yes. Can you figure out if we would like to, in our imaginary world, to locate the almond tree, where would it be?
The eighth,
Excellent. The eighth. Excellent. That shekadam, shekedim, let's put it here, shekadam, the almond, shaked, shaked. Why do we call it shaked? Shekadam. That was before uh, he he blooms early. And in this week, the almond is blooming, though the trees naturally will bloom only in the spring, on April. Already now in Tu Bishvat, in January, the almond is blooming because it, in a way, reflects the tree of life. There's no seasons. The tree of life is always there. And this is what Jill was reading earlier in the text in Deuteronomy, that Moses tell them that your foot is not, there is 1 second, where is this, verse 4, that your dress is not torn and your foot is not swell. What does it mean? Dress or garment is not just external dressing from fabric or from cotton. Here simlatcha is referring to the dressing of the mind, the way we think. So the divine thought never stopped. And your foot, we say here, we say foot. Yes, in English, in Hebrew, raglecha. Regel is a leg, but whenever we find the word regel in Hebrew, it's referring to the tree of life, meaning to the tree of life, to the essence, there is no swell, like something which is external, because the tree of life is inner. Why did I bring this verse? Because Charles was asking about the almond. And we say that almond in Hebrew is shaked, shekadam, that was before, like from Kedem, from the east. What was before the darkness was a light. In the same manner, this verse speak about this reality, that nothing is being torn. The dressing is not torn because the dressing is not something external. We speak about the dressing of the mind, the way we think, and the divine thinking can never be torn into pieces because the divine thinking is one. And also the foot or the leg is not swell with like pockets of water from too much walking, because we speak here about the tree of life. The tree of life is inner, never goes out. There's never pressure on the tree of life. like on process of development. When we work too much, but the materials start to get distortion, but not in the tree of life. Does it make any sense, all of it?
It makes because it's true. We can feel this every time that we can access a glimpse of the tree of life. It's always fresh. It's always new. It's always brings freedom to the mind. You know? So,
That's true. That's true. Questions or thoughts that you'd like to share? So, if there aren't any questions at the moment, I would like to seal this conversation, and I would like to wish you a very good day, very good week. And if you have time, we can meet here tomorrow and continue. Discuss Tu Bishvat and going out of Egypt or crossing the Red Sea or the Red Sea. And please prepare questions, any kind of question that you have.
Thank you,
Thank
Etty.
you. Thank you, Jill, for coming. Fernando, Charles,
Thank
Anthony.
you so much.
Thank you so much for streaming.
thank you,
Thank you for
friends. Thanks
YouTubers.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Shalom, shalom, everybody.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.